Some cars look like they belong in an art museum rather than on the road, while others break conventions so boldly they become icons. These are the top 10 machines that prove when car creators let their imagination run wild. The results are unforgettable. 1953, GM Firebird 1, XP21. If you ever wondered what would happen if a fighter jet and a car had a baby, the answer is the Firebird 1 XP21, built in 1953. This wild machine came with a gas turbine engine that could push out up to 370 horsepower, which was mind-blowing at the time. It wasn't built for people to buy, but more to test crazy ideas for the future. The design looked like it was ready to take off into the sky, with wings on the side and a sharp nose leading the way. Inside, the driver sat in a single cockpit seat, which gave the feeling of being a pilot instead of just a driver. While it never made it to the streets, the Firebird 1 showed how far GM was willing to push car design. Now, if you thought jet-like cars were wild, wait until you see what Italy was dreaming up. 1970 Lancia Stratos Zero. Looking like it was carved from a wedge of cheese, the Lancia Stratos Zero turned heads when it rolled out in 1970. This car sat so low to the ground, you might mistake it for a doorstop, but its futuristic shape made it look fast even when parked. It had a sloped windshield that gave drivers a full view ahead, though the cramped interior wasn't exactly built for comfort. Under the rear grille sat a V4 engine that only made about 114 horsepower, which wasn't much muscle to back up its sharp looks. Still, the Zero wasn't about speed, it was about bold design. Even more, it inspired cars like Lamborghini in the years to come. Speaking of cars that turned into cultural icons, let's move from Italy straight into Hollywood fame. 3. 1981 DeLorean DMC-12. No list of unique cars feels complete without the DeLorean DMC-12, the stainless steel star of Back to the Future. Built in 1981, it featured those unforgettable gull-wing doors that made every teenager want to jump inside and time travel. In reality though, this car was more about style than speed. Now let's talk power. It came with a 2.6-liter V6 engine pushing just 130 horsepower, and it weighed nearly 2,900 pounds. Hitting 88 miles per hour was possible, but not nearly as quick as in the movies. Still, the brushed steel body and sci-fi vibes kept it in the spotlight, even if performance fans weren't impressed. The DMC-12 proved that being memorable doesn't always mean being the fastest. But while the DeLorean lived in the future on screen, one French inventor was already building electric cars decades earlier. 1942. L'Œuf électrique. If you think today's electric cars are new, the 1942 L'Œuf électrique, or electric egg, was way ahead of its time. Designed by French engineer Paul Arzens, this little round bubble looked more like a cartoon spaceship than a car. Built for his personal use, it was shaped almost like a giant glass egg, with huge windows wrapping around the body. What made it shocking wasn't just the design, but the fact it ran on an electric motor in the 1940s. Of course, it topped out at only 37 miles per hour, so it wasn't breaking speed records, but it definitely turned heads on the streets of Paris. This tiny car proved imagination could come long before technology caught up. From an egg on wheels, let's fast forward a decade to a car that looked futuristic, but packed serious V8 power. 1956 Buick Centurion. Among all these wild concepts, the 1956 Buick Centurion might be the most practical while still feeling futuristic. With its bright red and white paint and sweeping lines, this coupe was a glimpse into the cars of tomorrow. The big feature was its panoramic glass roof, which made the cabin feel wide open, almost like sitting in a bubble. Even more amazing was the dashboard camera system connected to a rear display. Basically the first rear-view camera, decades before modern cars adopted it. Under the hood, it had a V8 engine producing up to 325 horsepower, giving it both style and real muscle. Unlike many concept cars, it looked like something people might actually drive every day. 1961 to 63, Chevy Corvair wagon. Not every rare car has to look like a spaceship, and the Corvair wagon proves that. Chevy only built this model from 1961 to 1963, making it far rarer than people realize. The first year it was called the Lakewood, but after that, Chevy dropped the name and switched to simple 700 and 900 trims. Underneath, the wagon borrowed its platform from the Corvair sedan, but the long roof design gave it a practical side. Power came from an air-cooled flat-six engine, a layout unusual for an American car at the time. The Corvair wagon wasn't a performance monster, but its unique engineering and short production run make it stand out today. It filled a gap until Chevy introduced the Greenbrier van and the Chevy 2 wagon. But while the Corvair wagon was quirky family transport, another car from the early 1900s aimed to thrill drivers with racing pedigree. 1914-24, Stutz Bearcat. The Stutz Bearcat came along at a time when most cars were still slow, boxy, and built only for basic travel. Instead, the Bearcat was designed for excitement and quickly gained fame as one of America's first sports cars. Beyond this, early versions even competed in the Indianapolis 500, and in 1911, a Bearcat managed to finish 11th in the race, which gave it serious credibility. The car used a strong 4-cylinder engine that could push impressive speeds for its time, making it a dream for drivers who wanted something more than a simple carriage on wheels. Above all, the low body, big round lights, and long hood gave it a stylish and aggressive appearance. Its racing success helped spark the saying, "Race on Sunday, sell on Monday," showing just how much Stutz influenced car buyers. Now, where the Stutz focused on speed in the past, the next machine takes that idea to an entirely new level. Carbonite LSR Streamliner. Land speed racing has always been about pushing the very limits of what's possible, and the Carbonite LSR Streamliner shows just how far builders are willing to go. Built to race at Bonneville Salt Flats, this car is designed like a rolling bullet, long and narrow with a cockpit almost like a fighter jet. Under the body sits a massive 540 cubic inch Chevy big block V8 engine, paired with twin turbochargers that push out about 2,600 horsepower. That kind of power gives the Streamliner a shot at hitting the 500 miles per hour mark, making it one of the most extreme racing vehicles ever built. The car blends aerodynamics with raw horsepower in a way that feels closer to an airplane than a street car. And while this beast chases records on salt, our next car was quietly redefining comfort and technology back on city streets. Citroën DS. When the Citroën DS debuted at the 1955 Paris Motor Show, it stunned crowds with technology nobody had seen before. Instead of stiff springs, it used hydro-pneumatic suspension that automatically leveled itself and made rough roads feel smooth. In addition, it also came with hydraulic steering, a semi-automatic gearbox, and disc brakes long before most other cars had them. Later versions even had headlights that turned with the steering wheel, giving drivers a clear view around dark corners. On top of all that, the car looked sleek and futuristic, with its smooth body and wide stance. Power came from modest engines, but performance wasn't the point. It was about comfort, safety, and style. With nearly 1.5 million sold, the DS became a true icon. But while Citroën's DS won hearts in Europe, America had its own strange idea of luxury in pickup form. Lincoln Blackwood. On paper, a luxury pickup truck doesn't sound unusual today. But in 2002, the Lincoln Blackwood was a very strange idea. Instead of a normal 5 or 6 seat layout, the Blackwood only had 4 seats, with a big center console running through the rear. The cargo bed was fully covered with a power-operated tonneau lid and lined with aluminum, more like a fancy trunk than a workspace. At the back, it ditched a standard tailgate for split Dutch doors that swung open sideways. Under the hood, it used the same V8 engine as the Lincoln Navigator, paired with air suspension for a smooth ride. The styling mixed an F-150 body with Lincoln's luxury touches, but the odd layout meant it didn't appeal to typical truck buyers. Lincoln only sold about 3,500 units before pulling the plug. And that wraps up our look at the top 10 unique and extreme vehicles ever made. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.